Alright guys, welcome back to Elden Ring. We're going to start this episode off by getting Gravitas Ash of War available, but we're going to use the Meteoric Ore Blade because it has it already equipped. We already retired our Falchion that had it equipped. And we're going to head to the Coastal Cave in Limgrave. We never did get the Invisible Scarab on the beach, so we're going to go ahead and get that one. And we also missed one close to where the finger reader is in Limgrave as well. So we're going to get those two to pretty much finish Limgrave off. This beach in Limgrave is also a good farming spot for several items. You can get four-toed Foulfoot, you can try your luck to get the octopus head, and you can also farm for falchions from the demi-humans. Even though there's another beach in the Weeping Peninsula that has a bunch of birds in one area, kind of clustered up, easier to get to, I like this beach better because it's easier to farm because of the ease of getting to the Grace. Now here is your Invisible Scarab right here. Just use the Gravitas and you'll get the Stamp Sweep. And there's one lone Caden warrior sitting by a campfire over here. And this will pretty much end our trip on the beach. Next we'll head to get that other scarab that we missed near the finger reader. Pretty much on your way to that shortcut if you wanted to skip Stormville Castle and go straight to Liurny of the Lakes. There's a little area off to the right with a scarab, which I didn't get to. This next Ash of War will be your last notable item to collect in Limgrave. However, there is a rune bear in Limgrave that is guarding some Trina's lilies, and we're going to get those probably in the next episode. So we're not technically done with Limgrave after this episode, but I mean, it's just Trina's lilies, take it as you will, but they're extremely valuable in my opinion. But we're going to mark it, that spot on the map. That is where the scarab is, and we're just going to shoot him with the arbalest. On our way to our next destination, let's talk about what our goals are for this episode. So we're going to start Corin's quest. He's the guy in the round table hold that sells you incantations. Now there's a reason we're doing this, because we need a spell from him. We need an incantation from him that's going to make our life a lot easier against one of the hardest enemies in this game. And we need the Great Heal spell from him. So we're going to start his quest line. But along the way we're also going to get items for Hyetta's quest, although we're not going to speak to her in this episode. We'll start doing that in the next episode. And we're going to kill a number of field bosses along the way, including the Ringleader for the Black Knight. We're also going to meet up with Alexander again and get the Jarhead. This will give us increased pot throwing damage. Now right here is your Scarab. This will give you the Stormwall Ash of War. Now we're going to go back to Round Table Hold and speak to Corin. Pretty much the only thing left in Limgrave for us to do is to get past that rune bear and get those Trina's lilies. But when you speak to Corin now, he'll say that he's leaving the Round Table Hold. We're just going to buy all the incantations off of him real quick. But the one that we're after, we won't be able to buy until he moves to Altus Plateau. By speaking to him here and exhausting his dialogue, he will go ahead and move to Altus Plateau. So we want to go ahead and go there. You want to head to the Altus Highway Junction. And he'll be along this road right here. He will ask you to find the gold mask. Now we're going to do that in this episode, but this is pretty much what his quest line entails. He's obsessed with this character named Gold Mask, but we are not going to start that this time. Just speak to him and purchase all of his incantations. We're mainly after the Great Heal incantation here. Very important to get this. We're not going to talk about Gold Mask. We'll come back to that later. While we're in Altus Plateau, let's go ahead and get a missable gesture from this church here, and we're going to also get a crafting recipe that will allow us to craft bone bolts that do holy damage. But this is a very missable gesture. If If you're going for all gestures in a playthrough, this one is missable. So you can go too far and miss it. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. You'll need to sit at this grace at this church up here and speak to Melina about the echoes of America. And you'll get the gesture. The outer order gesture. Like I said, this is very missable. But like I said, we'll also get the crafting recipe for holy bolts. And you'll also get a seal. But there's your cookbook, and you'll get a seal. And we just want you to talk to Melina, but you can get some golden centipedes as well. Now let's talk to Melina and get this gesture.
Spoken words of if you wish. America, I declare through under those bliss my comrade.
You get the outer order gesture, and you'll be good. Now let's go meet up with Alexander in the Mount Gilmore region. We're also going to take out another boss. Another one of those annoying magma worm bosses. I'm marking some locations on the map here for our destination after we kill the magma worm. But this is a rise right here, and there's some hidden glyphs that we have to interact with. And we'll mark them all. There's the most hidden one right there. But we're going to go to Mount Gilmere. And you know, Indy's had a pretty long journey. So we're going to give him a break in this boss fight, and he's just going to take a nap. In order to do the nap kill, which I've named it, you'll need some rot pots. You only need but 2 of them. You'll want the Kindred of Rot's Exaltation, and you'll also want the Winged Sword Insignia, and you'll need to use Lieutenant as well. But it's very strategic. You can do this without even doing anything. You just sit there and take a nap. This is what Indy's going to do. He's going to put his hat down. He's going to have a little break. He deserves it. So we're going to head towards this area here. We're not going to engage with any of the enemies. We're just going to head towards the location. But one thing you need to do is wait for this chariot, this fire-breathing chariot, to move to the left. If you do not wait for him to move to the left, this could mess you up. So right here, wait until he turns left. Don't go yet. When he starts moving and then turns left, he'll be engaged in some other battle, so he won't interrupt us. But stick far away from him. Don't draw his aggro. We're going to come up to the summoning pool, and we're going to walk towards it until we get the icon right here. We got it. We're going to stay right here, and we're going to summon Latenna. And we're going to buff her and ourselves. Golden Vow and Hal Shabiri. And we're going to get on Torrent, get our rot pots ready, and we're going to ignore the boss for now. We're just going to go over here to this specific mountain, and there's a way you can get up top here. But you have to position Indy very strategically. You want to be facing this little jut out here. But throw 2 rot pots and make sure that he's rotted. Now you're going to just get into this corner here. Make sure you're facing this little rock thing here. If you're not exactly positioned like this, he can hit you in his second phase. But we're also going ahead and pop our gold pickle Foulfoot because we want to get maximum runes. But yeah, he's just going to die on his own. We're just taking a nap here. Latenna is going to be doing damage to him while the rot's taking effect, and he can't hit us at all. Takes like a minute, and he'll be no more. And then we can safely get our Jarhead from Alexander. When you start to see the screen shake, he's trying to hit us. Now, if you're too far up, he can hit you, but in this position, he'll never hit you. but his sword does have great reach. You can see it again. He's trying to hit us so hard here. He's trying really hard to hit us, but to no avail. We're continuing to nap. While the magma worm is fixated on us, they're not even going to go to Latenna. And Latenna's just sniping him from a distance while the rot is just killing him as well. In my opinion, this is definitely the easiest way to kill this boss. The laziest way. And that's pretty much it. That was a freebie for you guys. You'll get another dragon heart. And new powers are available. Now let's go meet Alexander. He is wounded from his battle with Radon, so he's trying to temper himself back together with the molten lava here. Speak to him to get the Jarhead. This will increase our pot throwing damage. When we combine this with a talisman we'll get later, you'll do even more pot throwing damage. So there's your Jarhead, just named Jar. Exhaust his dialogue, he'll say he's heading eastward. Make sure he's saying this. Although we've already cleared the mountaintops of the giants technically, you can summon him for the fire giant, but we've already taken out the fire giant. So here is your other location on the map. There's 3 locations here. Now it's time to take on a new enemy type. You've probably rode past these before, but now it's time to kill them. They're called Wormfaces. These enemies are particularly dangerous because they can spew Death Blight at you. And if you get the Death Blight meter filled up, you will die instantly. So we're going to use the Bear Witness skill on our Grafted Dragon to one-shot them. And for groups, we're going to use the Giant's Red Braids Flame Dance. So our first encounter will be right here after the bridge, by this broken down carriage on the right. We can stealth this guy. Just sneak up behind him and do 1 Bear Witness, and he'll die. You don't even need buffs with the talismans. I just did it for overkill purposes. But that's the easiest way to take these guys out. They're actually more susceptible to slashing damage, but I tried using the Nox Flowing Sword and it didn't kill them in 1 hit, but this did, so I'm all about efficiency here, so we're going to use the Grafted Dragon. Now, for whatever reason, the Wormface on the left will not come to his friend's aid here once he sees him die, or hears him die. He must be deaf because he didn't move. We'll just take him out as well. Now, the reason we're coming here instead of going straight to Liurny of the Lakes is because we want to get a sorcery spell that's going to make our lives much easier. We're already overpowered as it is, but this is just going to make us an unstoppable killing stealth machine. Now, we're going to go over here, and there's 2 of these Wormfaces on patrol. This is where we'll use our Flame Dance for the first time against them. You're just going to sneak up in between them, 1 Flame Dance, and they should die. Now let's make our way towards the rise. Now this rise is interesting because you have to do something other than find phantom turtles. This time you need to interact with these crests. Now the first one's right in front of you. No problem there. But where are the other 2? Well, the other one is over here in plain sight, but the third one is hidden. But I've already marked it on the map. Let's go ahead and take this guy out. He's guarding a Mikola's Lily. Now, be wary. There are phantom imps about. but they won't kill you. As soon as you interact with the crest, they can't hurt you, and they'll just die on their own right here, see? And they'll just die. Now we're going to make our way towards the final one. Now there is a grace along the way, and I highly suggest you get to it. There are a group of 3 worm faces here. They're guarding a scarab in the middle. Now we're not going to deal with the 3 worm faces. Instead, we're just going to use the jar cannon to snipe the scarab from a distance. But I recommend not doing it this way exactly, because I accidentally penetrated through the scarab and hit the worm face, and he was alerted to my presence, as you can see. That'll give you a somber 5. But he's alerted to my presence, so he is now on to me. So just make your way to the grace. It's very close by. And the final glyph is very close by as well. Glyph or crest or whatever they're called. But this is the Bower's Bounty side of grace. We're just going to head towards where we marked on the map. So this next one is underneath a rock. So you just need to hit the illusionary rock and you'll get it. I never even saw the imps here. And now that we've done that, we have access to the Rise, which will give us the sorcery spell that we're after. Unseen Form. This sorcery is especially useful when traversing into dangerous areas. And you'll see that we'll make quite use of this sorcery throughout the rest of our playthrough. It will make our stealth setups even more formidable. We'll basically be a ghost. Nobody will be able to tell where we are when we combine it with other talismans, such as the Crepus Vial or the Concealing Veil. What's even better about this sorcery spell, Unseen Form, is you can use this while riding Torrent. So you can go through heavily armed areas, and especially one in the consecrated snowfields, which we're going to go through at the end of this episode, where you'll get sniped by these Albinurics that are just so annoying to deal with. But with this, nothing will know that you're here. So this is one of the most important sorcery spells in the game, in my opinion, Unseen Form. And we are going to make quite use of it in this episode as well. Now we're going to go take on the head honcho worm face boss. And we're going to make it morning so we can see better, because there's some annoying enemies about, some grunts that will make this boss fight more difficult than it needs to be. But we want to put on our strength and dex tiers here, because we're going with our Uber Bleed setup again. We're going to go ahead and put on Unseen Form, because this is pretty much going to stay in our slots for the rest of the playthrough. Such a useful spell. And we're going to go ahead and put on Great Heal as well. But we're going to go ahead and mark this section on the map. That's our destination. That's where the boss is. And some ruins where we can get another cookbook to craft warming stones. Now be careful here. Don't alert any more worm faces than you have to. There's one on the left here. You don't want to alert him, but you do want to take out the grunts surrounding the boss worm face on the right here. He's giant. You'll be able to see him. He's huge. But right now we're going to take out another worm face in these Woodfolk Ruins. We've been here before slightly. We didn't spend much time here, and we didn't get the cookbook here. We were here briefly before. There's one bear witness here. Take him out and take out the slugs in the ruins. You get some beast blood over here. But more importantly, you'll get the cookbook for warming stones. Now, let's do our Uber Bleed build. But first, we need to take out those enemies. There are 3 of them, but we're only going to take out 2 of them, because the other guy on the right, far right of the worm face, he's not really a problem that I found, but you want to take this guy out for sure. So we're just going to sneak up behind him and take him out. And there's one that's kind of camped out close to the Wormface. You can see him right there. We're just going to shoot him. And because I want to ensure his death, we're using the jar cannon. We need to guarantee that he dies in one hit. Now we can take on the Wormface. But we need to use our bleed setup here. I found that bleed is much easier to kill this guy quickly. You'll have to roll under his legs a few times, but with the bleed setup, he will not last long. Not long at all. You need the blood exaltation. And we're going to go with the Crepus Vial because we want to just run up on... You could just use soft cotton instead of wasting a talisman slot for some of these quick encounters. And I might start doing that in the future. It might make for a better boss killing setup. But you want to run up to him until he stands up and let him show his legs. Once he shows his legs like this, now we can buff. So our usual Golden Vow, Howl of Shiburi, and then we're going to use Seppuku on ourselves twice. You know the drill by now. And we're going to drink our flasks. Always start with the offhand first. And then we're going to wail on his legs and just do a roll behind him and in front of him. He's not hard to dodge. Just kind of roll between his legs a few times, and he will not last long. He just does a stomp. Just stay away from his front because he'll start spewing the Death Blight. But as you can see, just a few rolls and a few swipes, and he's pretty much dead already. Now, our next destination is Liurnia of the Lakes. We're going to take out a few bosses here. Now, the first boss, we're just going to use the same setup we just used, the bleed build, to take him out quickly. And the second one is not really a boss, it's an NPC. And it's Irina's father. We'll take him out, Edgar. But first, disregard what I click here because I went to the wrong side of grace. It's not the 4 belfries, it's the foot of the 4 belfries. So I'm going to do a quick edit here. And we're going to be at the foot of the 4 belfries. So I realized my mistake. Here's where you were going to go. Right here is the boss. Here's your jail. And this is the grace you want to be at. Not that one, but this one. The foot of the 4 belfries. And so we're going to travel down here to get to that. And then over here is the Revenger's Shack. This is where we're going to kill Edgar. And then further down here is a rise. We'll go there next. After Edgar. And there's also a catacombs that we're going to go to, but I didn't mark that on the map. But let's go ahead and go to the foot of the 4 belfries, and we're going to get ready to kill our next boss. This is basically a troll boss, but I tried using the Bear Witness, and it wasn't efficient enough quickly to kill him. So I used the bleed setup and found out that I could kill him with just 3 jump attacks. So using the Claw Talisman is your key to victory here. Your Claw Talisman will ensure this enemy's quick death. 3 jump slashes with the dual falchions will take him out with your bleed setup. And if you just run behind him, he'll try to stomp you if you stay in the front, but if you get behind him and then move back to the front, he'll be dead by the time he realizes what's going on. Do not engage the bats, especially the operatic bat on the left. You'll hear the singing. That means to just stay away. Let them do their thing. But here is the jail. The Cuckoo's Evergaol. You could use Bear Witness if you want, but I find that the bleed is more efficient. Same with the Wormface. Same drill as before. Golden Vow, Howl of Shiburi, drink your flasks, and seppuku yourself twice. And then we're going to just jump, attack the troll. We're going to get behind him, do a jump attack, get in front of him, do a jump attack, and then just do another jump attack. He won't know what's going on. By the time he figures out what's going on, he'll be dead. So the first objective is get behind him. Do a jump attack, another jump attack, and then another one. He still doesn't know what's going on. By the time he even sees you, he'll be dead. Easy peasy. On to the next one. This is Irina's father. And the best way to take him out is to spawn kill him. Before he even can spawn in, he'll be dead. So we'll use the Giant's Red Braid on him with our Fire Scorpion Charm. And he'll be dead. And he is located at the Revenger Shack behind us here. Just head towards the Erdtree. You'll immediately be dismounted upon entering the Revenger Shack area. So you'll know he's coming, invading you. I'm not even going to use Howl of Shiburi. I'm just going to equip Golden Vow, and that'll be enough. One Flame Dance will take him out. And if you still can't kill him at the spawn, wait until he tries to heal. He'll try to heal himself or buff himself. And while he's doing that, you can use another Flame Dance, and he'll definitely will not survive that one. But as soon as you can lock onto him, just start Flame Dance. It's over before it even began. And he'll drop a Shiburi Grape, which we'll need. We're going to collect all the Shiburi Grapes for Hayeda's quest line. We're not going to talk to her in this episode, but we'll start her up on the next episode. Shortly after killing Edgar, we're going to go ahead and find another catacombs area. So from this side of Grace, we're just going to head towards that mountain in front of us. I didn't mark it on the map, but you are going to want something to shoot some imps with and some bats. I recommend using the Glintstone Crisp because it's just easier to one-shot the imps and the bats. Of course, you could use some other ranged attack, but I find that the Glintstone Crisp is just too easy. And we're going to need the Nox Flowing Sword. That's all you're going to need for these catacombs coming up. The boss is an absolute joke and will be one-shotted. If you can even call it a boss. It's a gimmick boss is what it is. I was trying to figure out what talismans to use because I couldn't really figure it out. So we're going to go with the Filigan Crest because we're using our Nox Flowing Sword a bit. Nox Flowing Sword is going to get quite a workout in this episode. We'll be taking out the ringleader of the Black Knives, the hardest of the Black Knife Assassins. So if you see that statue nearby, you know there's some catacombs nearby. Once you see the jellyfish, just stay on the road, but be wary of the bats. We're just going to get off Torrent and make sure we snipe them. And there's also a scarab nearby. There's quite a few bats here. We're just going to snipe them. You don't even need to charge the Glintstone Crisp. One regular attack will take them out. We're close to the catacombs now. Off to the left is your entrance. This is a very easy catacombs, guys. There's hardly anything in here but imps. And they're very easily dispatched. Roads in catacombs. The gimmick to this catacombs is illusionary walls. There's quite a few of them, and the entrance to the boss fight is actually hidden. So the main thing here is to just know where the illusionary walls is. For this first imp, just run up here and run back. He'll always attack, and you can counter with the Nox Flowing Sword's flowing form. That's one imp down. The next imp is on the right. Just hit him through the wall as well. We can pull the lever here to unlock the door to the boss. Yes, we're already unlocking the boss room. But there's more to it. Like I said, there's illusionary walls we have to get to. Now we're going to get Glintstone Chris out because of this next imp. He'll be throwing daggers at you from a distance. We can snipe him with the Glintstone Chris. Or you can just jump over his daggers and kill him any way you prefer. Now there's another imp to the left here. He's on the ceiling and he's quite ambush type. If you run into the room, he'll come from behind. And you can also accidentally hit that switch there and it will trigger the trap. You could use that to kill the imp if you'd prefer as well. Here's your first illusionary wall that we're going to interact with. There are 3 imps in this room. The first one we're going to snipe in front of us. And there are 2 to each side of the door here. So Nox Flowing Sword for the win. Area clear. Now we're going to go backtrack and unlock some more illusionary walls. Your next illusionary wall will be right here. Now I recommend staying in front of this pillar here because the imps might see you, so as soon as you hit the wall, stay in the middle here. Use it for cover to take out that imp, and there's another one over here. Now I want to show you something here. If you don't have FP, you lose the ability to go through walls here. I didn't realize this until I looked at my meter. I was like, well, maybe I can't get this one, but nope. You lose strength when your FP is gone. Food for thought there. You get the Watchdog Staff. Now to the boss area. Another illusionary wall here. Same drill as before. There's an imp behind here. He'll be on patrol. Just sneak up behind him. But it's not finished there. You still got more illusionary walls to get to here. There'll be a passage off to the left here. And another illusionary wall. And yet another. Now we're at the boss. This boss is a gimmick boss. All you have to do is kill the snail in the corner. One shot from your Nox Flowing Sword will take it out. I'm not even sure why I bothered to buff here. I guess I was afraid to get hit by the Crucible Knight. But I buffed with Golden Vow and Halashaburi just for safety. The main thing about this boss is you have to dodge the first attack from the Crucible Knight to give you time to get to the corner. So run up, trigger the attack from the Crucible Knight. When he misses, just run to the corner, one flowing form, and it's over. Now to our next destination. You'll remember when we did Thop's quest, we got a gesture called Iridation. Now, we have to use that. So we're going to go warp back to the Revenger Shack. It's just easier to get to. We don't want to travel all through the mountains again. But yes, there is the gesture that you got from Thop's quest you will need for this rise coming up. We'll get another memory stone, which is valuable for us right now because we're going to be putting more spells in our slots. Great Heal now, and also Unseen Form. Pretty much mainstays. Well, at least the Unseen Form. Great Heal will only be used to take out Revenants, which we will get our first taste of in this episode. They're one of the most difficult enemies to kill in this game, but with the Great Heal spell, it is a cakewalk. Get your Grace, and make sure you got Erudition on your gesture slot here. You'll come to this statue with a pose. There are no ladders about to get to the top of the rise. So you're like, well, what do you do? Well, we're just going to switch out our gestures here. Switch it with this one. It takes a minute to trigger. You'll put your arms out, matching the statue, and a few moments later, a ladder will appear. We'll get to the top of this ladder for our memory stone. Now we're going to go get a scroll. Now, we could have talked to Hyetta and started her quest line, but I forgot to talk to her, and I figured we'll just do it all in one episode. Next episode, we'll finish her quest up to a point. But we're going to go to the lake-facing cliffs here. We need holy damage for this part, because the skeletons will revive themselves. We're just going to use our basic whip here, so that we can apply Order's Blade on it. And I'm going to use the Arbalest for a few encounters because the Glintstone Chris doesn't have the range to take out a few of the enemies. I'm going to put on the Talisman for the arrows or bolts. Now Order's Blade, we're just going to go ahead and activate it, and we're going to summon Torrent here, do a drive-by through the graveyard. There are 3 skeletons in the graveyard. We're just going to drive by and swipe them with our whip. I tried to get 2 for 1 here, but just missed. But here is your scroll. Now there is an arterial leaf right here. Don't miss it. A cluster of one of these graves. Right here. With Order's Blade still active, you should be able to get to the next set of skeletons on the right. But there is a particularly difficult skeleton that we're going to spawn kill before he can even rise up. So you want to take to the right here. He'll be on the ground face down. Just do 1 charge attack and he'll die. And we just wait for these to just come down from the trees. 1 R2 and they're dead. And we'll get a warming stone. Now we're going to go into the lake itself for this next area. So we're here at the Laskyar Ruins. We're going to get a few things here. We're going to get a ritual pot and a bell that the enemies are going to be using on us. The Wraith Calling Bell. Now you're definitely going to want Great Heal equipped, because our first Revenant is here. But we're going to buff here, just so we can one-shot this enemy from a distance. And there will be some enemies that come out of the water here. Don't approach too quickly because the Revenant will spawn. Let's just go ahead and take this guy out. There's 2 enemies that will come out of the ground here. Now it's time for the Revenant. All you need to do is cast Great Heal and then just do 1 attack with the whip and he'll die. Cast it immediately before he can attack you. And he's dead. Of course, not all Revenants are going to be this easy. This is a lower scaled one. There'll be a few more enemies that come out of the ground. Should be able to one-shot all of them. Don't forget to get some Trina's Lilies over here, though. Here's your ritual pot. These are going to be quite valuable, as you'll see. We've already used the rock pots in this episode, and the more we have, the better. But here are your Trina's Lilies. We'll make our way to the mark on the map. And this is where we'll get our calling bell. Haven't really found a use for this yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. Now that we're done there, we're going to head to another section. I'm going to go back to the Road of the Manor. Now, here is the unseen form on full display here, because this is where you want to use it. There are invisible enemies in this area. You cannot attack them until they spawn, but by using the unseen form, you'll be a ghost. We're going to use that plus the Crepus Vial, and they can't see us or hear us. But we also need to use the Margit Shackle to activate the traps and the entrance to the boss. We're going to kill another Revenant. So again, make sure you have the Great Heal ready to go. But we're going to go ahead and use Unseen Form for the first time. You'll see that the enemies will spawn out of thin air. There's one there, but we're a ghost. They can't see us or hear us. I'm going to come over here and activate Margit Shackle right here. This will open the entrance to the boss, and all of the traps will be shown. We're going to recast Unseen Form just to be safe. We don't need the Beast Torch because the dogs can't see us either. Now that one only shot at us because we activated the traps, I guess, but the other one didn't see us. Now here's another Revenant boss. Now all you need is Great Heal, but we're going to make sure we kill him with one hit, so we're going to use the Mesericord critical attack, and it should be enough. We're not even going to use Halashabiri, just Golden Vow should be enough. Just get Great Heal ready. Run up to him, cast it immediately. Boom, he's stunned. Critical, and it's over. You'll get a pretty cool weapon for killing this boss. I actually really like it. I'm not going to use it in this walkthrough, though, I don't think. It's another rapier. The Frozen Needle. Very cool. Now, on to our next destination. We went to this area when we did Valray's quest, but we didn't unlock it. That's why it's not shown on the map. But we missed a cookbook in there as well, so we're going to go ahead and get that. But that is the Rose Church. We went to the front of it and did Valray's quest, but we never went inside. So we're going to mark that area on the map, and then we're going to mark one more area right here. That's another item there, a weapon. And then we're going to go up here later into this rise. And then later on, we're going to go up here and get the Barbaric's Roar from a Scarab over there. But we'll teleport to get that one. Now, ignore that. This is where we're going to go later at the end of the episode. That's going to be the king of the ringleader of the Black Knives. Now that area I marked just there, ignore that. I thought that was the right location, but it's not, and you'll see that near the end. But we need the Nox Flowing Sword, and we're going to go with the Glintstone Chris this time to kill the Albernurks, because we can get penetration by getting behind them, and shooting one beam will take out 2 or even 3 if you get the angle right. So with FP boosting setup here, you'll see we'll get a 2-for-1 here. The big ones, I just like to use a charge attack to make sure that the big ones die. But first we're going to go get the cookbook from the Rose Church. An enemy will spawn one of those noble characters. I forget what they're called. The ones with the rapiers have a pretty good weapon. A lot of people like this rapier it has. But we're going to cast Golden Vow. That'll be enough to one-shot with the Nox Flowing Sword. But here it is, the Rose Church. And you'll get the cookbook there. And just spawn kill him. Nothing doing there. Now, blood roses won't be a thing eventually we're going to get access to them in the shop. And even better, we'll be able to use a stronger version of the bolts. But we have to kill a merchant that is very difficult to kill. And I've mentioned this before, but we're going to wait to kill him for a while. But here you can get 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 if you get the angle right. if you just want to kill these guys. Didn't quite get the angle there, but I got 2 for 1. This is a great weapon to kill these guys in groups. We're just going to head to the marker and get our weapon. Ignore the flowers. They are very tanky and very annoying to deal with. It's just not worth our time. It's not worth the time or effort to even take them out. If you're after Miranda powder, there are much easier flowers to farm to get them. But here is your weapon. And now we're going to go to our next destination, which is this rise up here. This is a particularly interesting rise because there's a turtle that is very hard to find, but it took me ages to find this turtle, but I walked past him like 100 times and didn't realize it. But I'm going to make it very easy for you guys so you don't have to struggle like I did. There are 3 turtles you have to find. The first 2 are easy. The third one is not. You can ignore these marionette soldiers that they drop down from these balloons. First objective is to find the Grace. There'll be an infinite amount of putrid corpses that will spawn around this rise, so it's just not worth the effort to kill them. Just kill them if they get in your way, I guess. But we're just here for the turtles and nothing else. We'll get to that rise and get another memory stone. So for the first turtle, he's in a tree. First we need to activate the puzzle. And if you walk up to the seal, it will give you the title card. So it'll be marked on your map for you. But the turtle in question is over here. Here come the putrid corpses. Just ignore them. There's the one on the tree. One snipe later, he's gone. And very close to that one is their second one. You can actually see him in the distance. Now for turtle number 3. The easiest way to get to this turtle is to find where the pavilion is in the lake. Then you'll see a rock jutting upwards at an angle. That's where you need to head to for a reference point. It took me ages to find this turtle. I went around this place 100 times and didn't find this turtle down here. But here he is right here. Now the seal will open. We'll get yet another memory stone. These are important now that we're using more spells. Our mainstays have to stay with us though. Especially Unseen Form now. It's going to make the game so much easier. Even though it's already easy as it is, we're making it even easier with this sorcery spell. We'll put it on full display again with Torrent at the end of the episode. Let's go get Barbaric Roar. Go back to this area right here. This is where we went to the ruined precipice. But I didn't want to come here because there are the bats that I didn't want to deal with. But you can snipe this scarab from a distance with Glintstone Chris and have to deal with the bats at all. Now, our next destination is the Moonlight Altar. Now we're going to take out the Ringleader of the Black Knives. This is a particularly difficult fight if you're not prepared. What I recommend is the Dex tier and the Stamina, the Green Spill Crystal tier, because you want a bigger stamina bar. Upon defeating this leader of the Black Knives, you will get one of the best spirit summons in the game, Black Knife Tish. A lot of people like this Spirit Ash, and we'll find some use for it, I'm sure. So for this boss fight, you're going to want the Dagger Talisman, the Ritual Sword Talisman, Caligreed Crest, and the Golden Scarab. This boss will give you quite a bit of runes, so you definitely want to make sure you get the most out of it. You're going to want the Nox Flowing Sword and the Mesricord. Mesricord is for backstabs, and the Nox Flowing Sword will be your bread and butter through the fight. This won't be a one-shot kill. We have to be strategic with this boss. This is a highly scaled boss because we're in the Moonlight Altar area, a higher level area here. This will not be a one-shot, but I have come up with a strategy to kill this boss with taking 0 damage. The thing about this boss is she's aggressive. She'll keep charging you. After she tries to hit you with a beam from her black knife, she'll always be susceptible to a flowing form. So you got to keep doing that. Wait till she does her charge attack, because the charge attack has great range. Dodge it to the left or right. Don't get close to her. Keeping your distance is the best way to stay healthy here. But we're going to buff with our main buffs, of course. But it's just, it's not going to be a quick sprint here. It's a marathon. We're also going to use some pickled turtleneck. But the main thing is keeping your distance and waiting for a chance. You have to be careful of the charge attack. It has great range. And if she does a jumping attack, that's your ideal time to do a backstab. It's got a long recovery time. So you want to do is quickly do 1 slash and back up. Keep your distance. She will always charge you. And that's really her weakness, because by using the flowing form as she's charging, she'll always run into it. But right here, we're just kind of baiting out an attack. Again, we're going to wait until she does one of her projectile attacks. When she's charging, we'll do another one. You have to keep your distance, though, because her attacks have great range. Here she goes again. Rev up another one. She's almost down to half. Now here's an attack you definitely don't want to get hit by, but she'll also be susceptible to another attack after one of those. And that's pretty much it. You just got to wait. Well, I couldn't get a backstab there. She was on some difficult terrain. We'll get one soon enough. But as you can see, the Nox Flowing Sword does great damage, and it's safe. But because she loves to charge, that is basically her main weakness. That and when she does a jumping attack. Again, she did one of the projectiles, so another chance for a Nox Flowing Sword. Here comes another one of those attacks. Another chance for an attack for us. It takes her time to recover. You just have to get the right recovery times and get an attack in. There's that charge attack I was telling you about. Very deadly. Especially at our vigor level. I just don't find vigor that important in this game if you know what to do. That's why I'm trying to demonstrate that you really don't need to invest in it that much. And here's your backstab opportunity. There's one. We don't have time to use Royal Knight's Resolve. There's just not enough time. You need to quickly get a backstab in when you can. Just keep running away from her. Waiting for those attacks. It really is not much to this fight. She'll charge you. She'll do a projectile. And that's it, really. Here comes another jumping attack. Another backstab. And we're going to go ahead and get her again while she recovers. Another attack here, so we're ready to rev up another one. No damage taken. This is a very consistent strategy as I have tested it. And that's it. You'll get 124,000 runes and Black Knife Tish. Very good spirit summon. And we're going to head back to Lion of the Lakes and kill a... We're not even going to call this guy a boss. I mean, he gets two-shotted, so he's like a little mini-boss, but with we're overpowered for this guy, so he's only going to take 2 swipes with our Nox Flowing Sword and he'll be dead. And then we're going to finish off the episode by going to get a very important tier from the Mountaintops of the Giants, and we'll call it an episode. But lying under the lakes, we want to go to the Nomadic Merchant area, but disregard that area over there what I marked. We want to come over here, close to the Nomadic Merchant here. There'll be a spirit spring you can use on the left, very close to the merchant. Just stick left, and you'll find the spirit spring and the jail. Right there. You don't even need to buff for this fight. I just did it anyway. It will take 3 slashes with Nox Flowing Sword without any buffs, but with the buffs it'll take 2. So I'm cutting down 1 slash basically. But this guy is a cakewalk. We could literally just call this guy a regular enemy. But you get a pyromancy spell from him. 2 shots, and it's over. He'll try to heal, though. That's one thing he will do, is heal. We didn't give him a chance to, though. We get the Flame of the Fell God, and we're on to the Mountaintops of the Giants. Now we're on our way to the Mountaintops of the Giants to improve our kit even further. Not that we need any more power, but yes, we're going to get more power. The further in we get into the game, we're going to need more power, so we're kind of prepping for the end game already. We're going to get a tier called the Thorny Cracked tier. This tier will stack with the Winged Sword Insignia, so it is going to increase our damage the more attacks persist. This is a very important talisman for taking out enemies like Mog without having to see his second form. So we're going to go to the Mountaintops of the Giants. We'll go over here. This is where we did Latina's quest. And here's where we need to mark it on the map. That is our destination. And like I said previously, Unseen Form will work on Torrent. So we're going to use it while we're on horseback, because there are Albinauric soldiers in here that will keep firing at you, and it's very annoying to deal with them. But with Unseen Form, we can travel as we please with no problems. We're a ghost. There'll be a Rune 12 right here. It will travel up over here. Now you'll see there's a golden seed up here we need to collect as well. We might as well get it on the way. But right here you'll see one of the Albinauric soldiers. They won't attack us right now for some reason, but there's some other ones that will attack you. Unseen Form right here. And we're going to head towards this village. We're not going to go into it, though. That's for later on. That's the entrance to the Erdtree. We're not going there yet. We will return to this area, though. But stay to the right. And we'll need to reapply about right here, Unseen Form, to ensure we do not get sniped in the back. Just going to continue to head towards the tree. And for the avatar, we're just going to use our tried and true fire build with the Magma Whip Candlestick. It'll take 2 swipes to take him out. Just doesn't get much easier. Once you see the summoning pool, you'll know you're in the right spot. And there it is right in front of us. Just take a right. Ignore the enemies. Head towards this tree and take a left. We'll buff for the boss, and that'll be the episode, guys. We'll get quite a few runes for killing this boss, so make sure you have your Gold Pickle Foulfoots and your Golden Scarab equipped. Golden Vow, and make sure you have some FP. I did not. Owl of Shaburi, and make sure to drink your flasks. Fire damage for the win. Make sure to readjust if you haven't. Just wait for your opportunity. Do 1 attack. Get ready to dodge again. If you're hoping for a stomp, just get behind him and it's over. We get the Thorny Cracked tier. and another tier, the Ruptured tier as well. Alright guys, that's it. I will see you guys in the next one.